season as Michael Penix Jr.'s backup. I do think the Dolphins are going to get Jalen Ramsey traded. They've made it clear, that he is a guy that they don't expect to be on this year's team. An acquiring team's going to have to pick up probably at least some of that $20 million he's got coming his way this year. And if the Packers are releasing Jair Alexander, who's a cheaper option, that could maybe slow down the market for Jalen Ramsey. But the Dolphins do believe they'll be able to find a trade partner for him, and he'll be on the move. We've heard Rams, we've heard Ravens, and there are other teams that have poked around on it, so we'll see how that shakes out.
All right, see where Jalen Ramsey ends up 87 days before the start of the NFL regular season. Crazy to think about it. Dan Graziano, thank you. Matt Christine with you on SportsCenter, and more than a dozen NFL teams will be reporting for mandatory minicamps tomorrow. To take us through the latest, we've got NFL insider Dan Graziano with us. All right, Dan, let's begin with the Browns, who have Shedeur Sanders as a part of a very crowded quarterbacking room. What can you tell us about how Sanders has looked so far?
Yeah, very crowded, as you say. Everybody's happy with what Shedeur Sanders is doing. It's just a question of getting everyone enough reps so that they can make a real evaluation. You have the two veterans in Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco, and you have the two rookies in Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. Kevin Stefanski, the head coach, is designing practice in a way to maximize reps. There are periods where the rookies will be on one field doing 7-on-7s or 11-on-11s, while the veterans are on another field doing the same thing. So as we get into minicamp here, and as the Browns get into training camp, that's going to be a big part of the story, is how do they get everybody enough practice reps so that they can make a decision.
To make an impact right away. What have you been hearing about Travis Hunter in Jacksonville?
Oh, so much good stuff, Christine. I mean, you heard Liam Cohen, the head coach, say last week that the defensive backs coach is asking if he can use him more on defense. They're trying to teach him the offense and sort of have him major on that side of the ball and minor in defense right now. But, he's making highlight reel plays like we saw last week with that tipped ball interception. And there's a pretty good feeling in Jacksonville that he'll be somebody who can help them in a number of different ways. He was, of course, the second pick. The first was Cam Ward, quarterback for the Titans. Titans have been very happy with everything they've seen from Cam Ward, first guy in the building, all that good stuff you want from your quarterback. A receiver named Xavier Restrepo, who's undrafted out of Miami. He's had a good connection with Cam Ward early in this offseason. To help Cam's transition. And in New Orleans, you have Tyler Shuck, the rookie out of Louisville. He's in a quarterback competition, ostensibly, with Spencer Rattler. And there are people in that building that like both guys an awful lot. I think there's a chance that Rattler could show them enough throughout the offseason that he might end up starting. But Shuck, no question about the talent, the arm talent. It has been on display in practices. It's just a matter of how quickly he gets up to speed. And, of course, Rattler has a little bit of a head start on him, having been in the league already.
All right, very curious to see how those quarterback competitions end up shaking out. Finally, there's some players that could find themselves on new teams by the time week one rolls around. So what is the latest on Kirk Cousins?
That Aaron Rodgers signing last week was not great news if Kirk Cousins wants to be out of Atlanta and get to a place where he has a chance to start. It seems like the musical chairs have all disappeared, and Kirk is still in Atlanta as Michael Penix's backup. So really right now, nothing hot here. I think someone's situation would have to change either via an injury to a quarterback or some other way that would open up a market for Kirk Cousins that right now has not materialized. If nothing changes, then he opens the season.
Texans today pending a physical. That's according to our Jonathan Jones. Now, Chubb spent the first 7 years of his career in Cleveland. He's only played 10 games the last 2 years after tearing his ACL in 2023 and breaking his foot last season. Looking at his stats and where he stands among some of the best, just something of note, his 6,843 career rushing yards and 51 rushing touchdowns, both ranked third in Browns franchise history. Bryant McFadden, our Super Bowl champ, he is back with us right now. So we got Nick Chubb, we got the Texans. Jonathan Jones put it out on social that the Texans will have Chubb in for a visit and a physical today. It is expected that a signing will take place afterwards. So nearing a new home, we are waiting for this news to officially come down. And when it is official, BMAC, do you like the fit?
Yeah, I love the fit for from either side of this potential signing. And here's why. For the Houston Texans, this is a low-risk, high-reward type of deal. In terms of financial leverage, honestly, Nick Chubb has none because he didn't show you the old Nick Chubb from a year ago. But if you're the Houston Texans, if he can get back to showing flashes of the Nick Chubb before the injuries, now just think about the backfield duo that you would have. Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb. We oftentimes got to go back and reflect a little bit, Jenny. From 2019 to 2022, Nick Chubb averaged over 1,300 rushing yards per season. That was his average, along with 10 rushing touchdowns. He was a book-end running back to get you at least 1,300 yards per season. But you can tell a year ago he was still trying to get his legs underneath him. And this could be the year that he ultimately gets back to being 100%. And if you're the Houston Texans, you take that and you run with it. Because if, as a defender, I would not want to face Joe Mixon, who already runs with a bad attitude. And then here comes Nick Chubb, who's highly motivated to show the NFL world, I'm back to being him. So this makes all the sense in the world because, like I said, Jenny, it's a low-risk, high-reward type of deal. How many of us would sign up for a low-risk, high-reward? All of us. In Houston, they're on the verge of doing that today.
I'll sign up for it. That's easy right there. You add in Dameon Pierce on that as well. I mean, it's just that backfield. Woo! We could get our first glimpse at Chubb in a Texans uniform coming up on June 10th. That's what minicamp is starting up. So we're going to keep it with the Texans in this segment. CJ Stroud currently not throwing at OTAs. He's managing some soreness in his shoulder. So that news coming after he dealt with a tight pectoral muscle 2 weeks ago at practice. This is not expected to be a long-term issue for Stroud. They're just taking extra precautions around their franchise quarterback. But where is your concern level when it comes to CJ Stroud, B-Mac?
Well, right now, Jenny, I'm okay, I think.
You think?
Now, the one alarming thing is that he's not allowed to throw at all. Even on air, you know, just on a quick hitch, slow motion, walk-through drills. He's not doing any of that. But they've emphasized, coming from Houston, that there's no reason to be concerned. So hearing that, I'm going to take that for face value. Now, Jenny, once training camp starts, if we're hearing the same thing in terms of they're just holding him out because they're being overly cautious, still has some soreness, no reason to be alarmed. If we're hearing the same thing, he's not throwing any passes, forget about high velocity passes, just throwing any throwing motion, then I would be concerned. But right now, Texans fans, I'm not going to alarm you. I'm going to listen to everything that's coming from the building. They're just being overly cautious with their star quarterback.